I mean, you've got 3 Chevy winners. You've got a couple of Toyotas. Ford hasn't won yet, but Ford has shown speed. They've done, Joey Logano, for instance, has done very well in qualifying. Doesn't have the finishes to go with it. Kozlowski finishes 3rd last week. They don't have the wins, but they've shown the speed. So I think, to some extent, I would think every manufacturer's got to be pretty happy right now.
I would think so. I think you're right. I mean, and again, because there's been so much going on, to Kelly's point, you've had 5 races and 5 different drivers. So there's that as well. And it seems like the fans that are the core fans that are here week in and week out like the fact that it gets spread around a little bit. But again, I think when you're trying to grow numbers and you look on the television side, the NASCAR fan, the diehard fan is going to be here week in and week out. How do you add to that number? And I think a lot of what we're talking about here, these different stories and some of this peripheral stuff that's happening out there as well with the Netflix show and those kinds of things, that helps. If you keep putting on compelling races and you keep having very entertaining races like the one we had last week at Bristol, I think that there's no reason to say those numbers won't continue to at least be steady, if not rise. We're getting into a kind of a little busy time of the year now on the sports calendar with the tournament and the Masters right around the corner. So this is going to be interesting to see how NASCAR kind of holds its own here in the next few Sundays.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the thing is, we mentioned Joey Logano, for instance. I want to talk about him real quickly, Kelly. As you talk about him, he's been so fast in qualifying, but his finishes have been horrible. He has, I don't know if he needs to get up out of a different side of the bed, put his shoes on a different order or something, but his luck has been awful. He's 26th in points right now. Mm-hmm. Do you begin to panic, or do you just look at that and say it's the old adage, they have speed, it's just a matter of things haven't gone their way?
That is true. They have single car speed. It's turning it into race speed and long run speed and I guess longevity, right, throughout the course of a race. But I don't think Joey's alone in that. When you look at, there's quite a few Fords that have single car speed in qualifying, and then you're looking around wondering where they are in the race. But Joey, specifically to your point, there's something missing there. And I haven't had a chance to ask him yet, but through all his comments that he's made the last couple of weeks, the one thing that I want to know is how much of this is carryover from last year? Because, yes, even though they're in a new body and a new car this year, there was something that kind of slipped away from that team midway through last year, and they weren't really a factor going through the summer and then into the playoffs, right? He gets eliminated in the first round. So something has changed within that 22 team. You ride the waves, though, and when you talk about panic from the outside looking in, it's very easy for all of us talking heads and maybe for his fans to freak out right now because it's like nothing's going right. They're not executing. They're not getting the finishes. Oh my gosh, are we going to win a race? But you listen to Joey, and what always happens with that team is experience. That word experience again. He's got Paul Wolf as an experienced crew chief who doesn't get rattled. This is a team, as Joey will remind you, that's won 2 championships. They know how to get it done. Joey's done this forever. He's ridden these waves in his career before where it seems like nothing's going right, but they've been able to claw their way out of it. So they just need to figure out what is that thing that's going wrong to where that speed and that execution's not lasting throughout the race weekend. I think it goes back to what we were talking about with Josh Berry. If you want to use the potential word, they have potential. They just haven't turned it into results. So no, I don't think panic necessarily is the right word. It's probably more confusing and frustrating for them than anything of, we know we can do this. We know we have the pieces, but just why is it not happening?
Well, Pete, you guys have a chance to talk to him almost weekly on your morning drive show. I mean, he always shows up. I mean, I give Guy credit for that, but I know he's got to be discouraged.
Well, he does. And, everything Kelly said is right. But at some point, is this starting to become a trend? I mean, we talked a lot about Brad Keselowski being in triple digits the last time he won a race. We're going on a year for Joey Logano when you think about it. And, you can take solace in the fact that some of this year has been circumstantial because he led a lot of laps at Daytona, crashed, led a lot of laps at Atlanta, crashed. So, okay, you can kind of put that in that category as well. But, think back to last year. He won, I should say 2 years ago, when he won the championship. He won a Gateway the first weekend of June, and then we didn't see him again until the playoffs came around, and then he got hot again. So I don't know how many times you can go to the well with that. I don't think you want to keep doing that. But I think these next few weeks are going to be interesting for Joey because that team, we're getting into sort of the meat and potatoes of the season here. I think they need to turn some of that speed into better finishes and see if they can not have to play a little catch up when they get to the playoffs if they're able to make the play. He'll be in the playoffs, in my opinion. But you don't want to have to always play catch up, and that's what he's done the last couple of seasons.